going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're working on this mini bike. I just got done on the last video fixing that dirt bike right there, and now today we're getting this mini bike going. So this should be way easier than working on that dirt bike if you saw the last video, and that's if it's just as simple as getting it running. So I'm going to show you what it's doing first in this video. A lot of people say, hey, you don't show what it's doing, you just fix it. Well, most of the time I just base off of whatever the customer tells me is the problem and then go from there. And 90% of the time that works. It's the carburetor, bad gas, it's been sitting. Sometimes it's different, but a lot of times tis what it is. So we'll just spray some O'Reilly's carb cleaner all over that air filter there. Open the choke, starts and dies. Clear indication that this is going to be a carbureted issue. So we're going to get right into repairing this. By the way, if this is your first time on this channel, which most of my viewers are very first time viewers, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I post content like this all the time. Most of the time not with mini bikes. I love this blue. What are we working on? We're working on a 212, so this is going to be the same as like a Honda or a Predator. But like I said, I post videos like this all the time, showing people how to fix stuff. This is a Tillotson Power Products. That looks like a damn Predator or Honda, so we're going to base it off of. Now, I am going to be using an ultrasonic cleaner to fix this. And by the way, if you guys are also new, links in the description for all the stuff I use, and I will even find a brand new carburetor if you guys have the same exact engine and just want to put a new carburetor on it. So check out the links in the description. Most everything I use here will be down there. So after we got the air filter off, now it's time for carburetor. It's always going to be pretty much 10mm bolts to take off a carburetor. Very rare that it is different. Now from here, we can pull off our air filter cover. We'll just put the bolts right next to it. Slightly pull out, we could take off the gasket. Yeah, this is a Honda style with the thickness, the gasket. And then just lightly throw up the throttle cable and the spring. It looks like if this thing is, does this thing have gas in it? I think it does. So I am going to have to get some fuel clamps here. Which I honestly, my fuel clamps have not been up to snuff recently. I think they're just wearing out. They are made out of cheap plastic. So let's take off this fuel line here. Actually, there's barely any gas leaking out of it. Got the carburetor off. Let me adjust my mic here. Okay, carburetor is off. Perfect. Let me see. There could be a problem with the gas. If there is gas in it, and it's not leaking out, that can be an issue. It looks pretty dry actually in there. So we'll double check when I put fresh gas in it. But let's get this carburetor over to the bin. God, I wish my neighbor's dogs would stop barking. Really drives me crazy. So, there's still a bunch of gas in there. Let me see. Doesn't smell bad. But we got a rag here, so let's get this carburetor apart. We're going to take off where the fuel is. That's a 10mm. Drop that down. Everything looks good up in there. We'll take this bolt off here. We don't need to take off the drain plug. We'll take the gasket off. And to keep it shape and without it warping, we're going to put it over there and just let it dry off. We don't want to get any carburetor cleaner on it or anything else on it. The needle came out pretty good. Hang on, okay. Sorry about that. I think that was my mom calling. Yep, Honda style carburetors, they always come off. This part, the choke part. Just put that aside. And this is going to be your pretty basic for the Predator or the Honda. As you see, this is made in Japan. So this is an OEM carburetor for this engine. We're going to take out the idle. From here, we're going to slightly be careful. I have seen these parts break off at the tip, and it is a pain to get them back in. That's the pilot jet hole there. We do not have to remove these two to get in here. We can throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner as is. We will remove the jet, and I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to show this trick every time because this is my trick that I've learned and that no one else really does, even though it's the best trick. Oh, never mind, the emulsion tube just came out. Don't have to show you it. Normally I take a pick, push it in there, rip this out, because a lot of times this is gummed up and stuck in there. And if we're looking at this carburetor here, to be honest, this is where we start at the choke, at the intake, and you can see that on this part, I don't know how good we're going to be able to see that. You can see that it looks pretty straightforward. But on this side where the choke is, we can see that indent where the venturi is really comes in tight, but doesn't open back up. Just comes in and goes straight. So that's what causes the air to flow through. So let's take a peek at this before we throw it in there. Nothing looks too terribly bad, but let's throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner with Dawn dish soap. That's all I use, water and Dawn dish soap. We will turn the gas to open so the liquid can flow through here. And we'll come back when I'm all done. I'm going to throw this in there as well. I'm not going to take off the O-rings on it. It'll be fine. I do it every. Look at this carburetor now. Now you can definitely see it says made in Japan. Nice and clean. I'm loving it. Look at that. Let's put it back together, shall we? I always start with putting the, what do you call this? Like the little pre-fuel bowl on. It's always a good start for me. And we'll put the float back in and the needle, which I did not put in the ultrasonic cleaner because there was no grime on that needle. And the float is a pain in the butt to clean. You don't have to clean them. Line it up, stick it through. There we go. Floats in. Now, putting these back on. Now, before you see if this has a little bit of that patina on it, you can clean them with a wire brush, but it's unnecessary. Now, 90% of all carburetors will have this dual band here. See how there's two bands? And this one with one band and nothing up here. That part always goes up into the carburetor. So you can see it poke through there. And you don't have to worry about pressing it in when you screw in the jet, which the jet's always going to go, obviously, the side you screw in upwards. Once you screw in the jet, that will push it in enough. And you're just going to go hand tight, little past hand tight, right there, because it is brass. You don't want to ruin it. Now we'll put our float bowl gasket back on, nice and pretty. And it looks like it did not warp at all. Now we'll put our bowl in. Now I'm going to show you guys a trick I do too. Wherever the throttle is, wherever the carburetor is facing, the drain always goes to the left. I'm going to angle it a little inwards, but this always faces to the left. I rarely, if never, have seen it face a different direction. If you're looking at your carburetor, that's on the left. Maybe on an inverter, it's facing to the right, but to the left. That's the best access point for the drain plug. Now we'll just give everything a quick zap to tighten it. Tight, tight. We can slap our choke back on, push our pilot jet back in, screw in our idle. Now I always hold it and go until just barely that throttle is opening, which is right about there. So yeah, I mean, honestly, that doesn't matter. You could adjust that, come and go, but it really doesn't matter. But there you go. That thing's clean, ready to go. I think this thing should run now. Okay, here we are. We're back at the bike, and we're going to put this carburetor on. While going in here, we're going to put this fuel line back on. I will grab my little pliers here and pull that clamp back on. These small fuel lines are always a pain. That's back on. Pull it out a little bit. Just roll in there and press your throttle down. Roll in there and press your spring in. Push it back. Now you can see it's to the left, so whenever you need to drain it, you just come in here and drain it. I guess this one could have been to the right too. It wouldn't have hurt, but that's how it normally always goes. From here, we'll put back on our gasket. And I don't remember if this was up or down. I think it was up. It was up. Oh, to hold on this, because this will just come up and down if it's not up. So that goes up over there to catch onto that so it doesn't fly off. Makes sense, makes sense. One side on for the 10 mil. I know you say to hand start everything, but I've done this a while. Still hand start everything. Before I put my air filter back on, I'm going to put some gas in here, and we're going to see if we're getting feel to the carburetor by just undoing this drain plug. So let me get some gas up in here. Gas should be flowing now. So I'm going to reach up in here. We're going to undo this drain plug here, and I want to see gas coming out. There we go. Beautiful. That means we now have gas to the carburetor. It is going through. I will tighten this up. I'm going to let that sit. I need to buy some higher quality wrenches. Oh, there we go. And I'm looking, no leaks. So as I'm putting on my air filter here, I will make sure, and don't forget to check the description if you guys need new stuff here, because I will have links for it. While I'm doing this, I'm also inspecting to make sure that there is no leaks going on. Now it's going to be choked to run, but let's get this thing out in the ground, start it up and drive. If I'm being honest, this thing's going to be a lot easier to drive than this dirt bike than even my scooter there. But it should still be pretty fun to ride this bad boy around. It's going to make the dog start barking though. But yeah, let's get it, shall we? So let's see, let's choke it up. Okay, so far so good. Oh, it died on me. I'm going to have to adjust the idle. So we are going to adjust that idle up a little bit. And then we'll try to, I think I got it perfect. So let's get it. Let's turn the switch to the on position. And let's go. Woo-wee, ladies and gentlemen. That was a ride. Let me tell you. Let me make sure my mic's still connected. Perfect. Hey, so anyways, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Look at that. I made a video changing the mirrors on that. I guess I could do the same thing for that, but 2 bikes done in one day. I still got to wait for my mom's boyfriend to come down. They bought a generator. That's going to be a video too from the pawn shop. They got a good price for it too. But so subscribe, turn on notifications for that video. Westinghouse video is next. I'm going to be pumping out a lot of this stuff, so I appreciate you guys for staying by and watching me. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.